Chapter 11. From 3rd of July to 21st of July, traveling through Georgia and Armenia, covering 2,200 kilometers. Usual queue of trucks at the border. This time I had to get out and walk through a separate passenger area while Nick took the Landy into Georgia. All pretty straightforward at the border. We then drove to Batumi on the Black Sea for a night, glamping at a vineyard the next night, then on to capital Tbilisi.
About 3.7 million people live in Georgia, 1 million of whom are in Tbilisi, and it was independent from Russia in 1991. Georgia is believed to be the first country to make wine 8,000 years ago using quavery, which is egg-shaped clay pots. And this is amber wine, which is made by including the skins. Really nice, slight overtones of dessert wine. We loved it. Then we headed up north, and one of the notable features was these overland gas pipes, the yellow pipes, and lots of animals on the road.
Wild camping is allowed in Georgia, and the Landy loves a bit of off-road. So we stayed in this beautiful green meadow of wildflowers near Tianati. The next day, we went to Ananuri Fortress and Zimbali Reservoir with beautiful blue water. Then on to Kaspeki in the magnificent Caucasus Mountains, way up north and only about 10 kilometers from the Russian border.
Georgia, Armenia and Azerbaijan are sometimes referred to as the Caucasus because of these mountains, and they stretch across these three countries going up to over 5,000 meters, which is higher than the European Alps. If you fancy skiing, there's a ski resort nearby. There's also paragliding and other activities. So it's a bit of a playground actually for Georgia around here. Very pretty. We found our camp spot right next to Mount Kazbek, which is one of the tallest mountains in the area, and started setting up camp, flipping up the top, swinging round the awning and getting ready for the kitchen.
Few minutes later.
Well, we got through quite a stormy night, and then in the morning we had lovely views, and we were joined by some Caucasian shepherd dogs, which are big old dogs, but this one was a tiny little puppy, really, really cute. Also some other dogs and wild horses. The wildlife around here was quite amazing. we drove up to the Russian border, and indeed we met some lovely overlanders from other countries that are going through Russia on a 3-day transit visa through to Kazakhstan. But our plan's always been to follow the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office advice, and they say don't go through Russia if you can avoid it. So we're getting a boat across the Caspian. Lovely to see this area though, so we ducked back down south, saw some waterfalls, and then headed down to a campsite in Gory.
We can't camp without a dog, and this one was called Mikey, who seems to be very keen to join us and followed us for a long time on our way out. Very sad, but we couldn't take him with us.
But we were allowed to take some fruit, so we did, and then off we went to Tbilisi, which is an ancient dwelling dating back to 2000 years BC. Gory was where Stalin was born, so we drove past the museum there and then drove on through Georgia, trying to get up to Mestia and Ishgali, but unfortunately the weather was against us. Interesting driving though. There was some really pretty scenery, but some really devastated old mining towns dating back from the communist age. So it was a bit of a mixture, I'm afraid, of natural beauty and man-made scarring. One exception to this is this rather lovely man-made monastery at the top of Katsky Column. This dates back to the 5th and 6th centuries, and Georgia indeed is the second country in the world to have adopted Christianity. Then off to the border with Armenia. So Tuesday the 9th of July and we are in Armenia. Record border crossing, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Just getting a taste of what we're going to have to do at future borders. I think everyone really lovely, just a lot of messing about and an awful lot of stapling actually. But anyway, we're here and it's good to be here. And 10 minutes into Armenia we got stopped by the police just to double check. Really lovely actually, they were peacekeepers all over the world, spoke perfect English, loved the landy. Long drive into Yerevan though, 10 hours, 600k, good to finally arrive. First thing we did was smarten me up with a haircut, and then we had a look around Yerevan. Similar size to Tbilisi, at about 1 million people out of the 3 million that live in Armenia. And Armenia is about half the size of Georgia. Seemed to have an awful lot of fountains and an awful lot of churches, not surprisingly, because it was actually the first country to adopt Christianity. Real combination of old and new. Indeed, one of the largest sources of income for the country is money from the Armenian diaspora. About 6 million Armenians live outside of Armenia. Food was great, as this pie shows, all sorts of meat and potatoes contained in there. And also we had a little bit of the local dancing. We also visited the Genocide Museum in Yerevan, which chronicles a massacre of around 1.5 million Armenians by the Ottoman Empire around 100 years ago. Very powerful. Hard to see in this photo, but in the background is Mount Ararat, standing at 5,165 metres and dominates the skyline on a clear day. Thoroughly enjoyed Yerevan, spent 3 days there, then off to nearby Gory and a great campsite called 3G. Highly recommend this, comes with security geese. And then on to some of the local sites, including the Symphony of Stones. And then a beautiful drive through the Armenian hillsides for about 2 hours up to the largest lake in Armenia, Lake Sevan. One of the things we've enjoyed as we've wandered through Europe is watching England triumph through to the European football finals. So we found a hotel, thought they were showing the football at 11 o'clock that night, but unfortunately someone came in with a ladder and we ended up watching the first half on a very nice Russian family's phone. We then had 1 day left before we had to be back in Tbilisi, and we really made the best of wild camping in Georgia.
In Tbilisi on 16th of July to drop the landy off, and then enjoyed more of the city sights and food, finishing with a terrific meal at Ninia's garden.
Right, we're flying tomorrow from Tbilisi to Baku. Got everything packed. Only problem is I can't remember where the heck I put my wife. There you go. Come on, darling. We can't avoid an airfare like that.